Good morning and welcome to the Breakfast Club. My name is Darren Hancock. I'm your host today. We are live trading the September 15th, 2023 charts. Looking at the chart today, we're looking at the tech. Went up, hit a nice little gap there last night. And we've had a slow little creep all the way down this inside that daily fair value gap. It was a 15-minute. Come all the way over here. You'll see this sucker right there. There's a 15-minute fair value gap it hit. Reacted off of that nicely. And we've come all the way back down again into the bottom of the daily fair value gap. So we're looking at this guy here filling in. We might see some measure of retracement back into here or the bottom of the gap. And then it looks like we're going to be banging around inside here for a few minutes before we decide what we're going to reach for. So what do we got on the daily here? Let me get rid of this. I'll put this down here for a second. So we have that sliver, the one we just looked at. That's that daily fair value gap sliver that we talked about earlier. We might come down and I'll use that as an inversion fair value gap on the daily. So if that holds price and we continue to push up, there's a lot of liquidity sitting up here on the daily. And also that little price imbalance we've been talking about for a while now. Further on the upside. So I'm looking at this as a possible place to key off of this lowest order block down here. It's also that the fair value gap on the daily, the little sliver. So I'm kind of looking for more upside. So if we get it just down in here and we bang around in here a little bit and finish off it with a very small candle today, that's fine. Next week looks like the potential for a run up into something big, or this could be just a wick down for the day and then the big push up for the finish up on the Friday. What kind of news have we got here today? We have industrial production, prelim U of M consumer sentiment, and inflation expectations. We're right on. We're just coming up for 10 o'clock. The consumer sentiment. And the inflation expectations. Okay, so one's a high impact and one's a medium impact. News event on Friday. Just going to give us a lot of drive. I don't know how that. I personally don't know the power of the inflation expectations. How big a driver that is, or the consumer sentiment. It says they're red and orange for. The actual intensity of the event, but to what extent that's going to inject volatility into the market, I'm not quite sure yet. I just know things like CPI events are huge. So we'll wait and see what that's like this morning. And yeah, so I'm looking at that one. And then let's look at, I had a guy yesterday on here, shocked me. I was like, holy smoke, I got a follower. And he asked about gold. So my friend, if you pop back on again today and you catch up on this video, we're going to talk a little bit about gold. I'm going to see where I'm at with gold. I'm going to keep an eye on this chat box in case somebody freaks me out and actually pops in here. So gold, let's have a look at gold here. Well, yeah, it took off the last hour. I was up a little while ago and I was watching gold. So look for, now that we've got above this guy, I love the old inversion gaps. And do we get some measure of support off of here? So here's a couple of inversion gaps. We kind of got through it with a body here, which is nice. Came back deep inside it, and then we've pushed up and through. So we're through this fair value gap now. Now do we come back and find some measure of support here? Or do we come all the way back down and dig into this order block here before running these equal highs here? So there's a small little pocket of, or liquidity pool up in here. I'll put up here. That's the upside objective, also inside that order block. And we also have this old one back in here. So see how we're kind of bouncing off of this key area here right now? Well, I always cut through candles as well. So from here to here, we're just coming up and hitting the edge of it now. So does this give us a measure of retracement back into this inversion? Does this create an inversion fair value gap for us now, and then we start to continue to push up even higher? Or do we get a nice big retracement back down for 10 o'clock to run deep into this order block here? Or do we get a complete reversal, start coming back down? Let's look at the daily and see what that's going. So you got to look at the American dollars as well and see what that's up to. So daily, we've got a we'll drop this in here. Oops. Blue is always daily. So we went down, created a fair value gap. This is classic, where you get to come back up, just tag the inside of it, and then leave. Aiming for a downside objective here, this swing low. You take out that swing low. Now we got a reversal. Well, not a reversal yet, but right now we've got an order block on the daily. Come back. Do we find support at that? That's also that inversion fair value gap that we talked about on the 1 hour. Was that an inversion fair value gap? Stand by. I don't want to give you bad information here. Yeah, we went through it and came back down. So that's an inversion fair value gap, but it looks like a regular fair value gap on the daily. There's a little sliver. Ooh, did you see that? Go back to those little slivers again. Now if I take this thing here, you'll look for these little slivers. Because as you've seen, these little slivers can provide some measure of support. Little daily slivers. We saw some really cool reactions off that this week. These little slivers of price action. So what does that look like? So now you go down deeper and you say, what does that look like on my inversion fair value gaps? Does this look like a key area? Is this lining up? Do we get some confluences here that support this price? So there's the sliver. We're right up through our level that we talked about earlier. We busted through that liquidity. Nice. So this one is hands off until like it's already late in the game. So had you not, see how we catch this sliver here? We get above it. We come back to it. This one here, we dig into it here and then left. That's that little daily sliver. Just clipped it. Nice. So an hour and a half ago, that would have been a nice little entry to go along. Didn't see it, wasn't up, missed it. So my gold friend, if you're still around when you happen to look at that and you didn't catch it, that's the entry there, finding just off that daily sliver. Oil. Let's have a look at oil. I marked this breaker here as a return to on the daily. It's already broken well above that already, so we're up into $88. My prediction right now is 94,773, which also lines up with the threshold of this breaker here. That's the upside that I'm looking for. So we've got a big pool of liquidity sitting right above here, and that's where we're headed. I'm going to put I've got a line up there. That's where the liquidity is going to be sitting right now. Stand by. I'll be right back. Hello, I'm back. Gotta kiss your wife goodbye, man. You gotta kiss your wife goodbye. All right, so where was I? So oil daily pulling back. So what are we looking at? Why is it pulling back here? Okay, have we hit this area of liquidity yet? No. We're in here, so have we hit this area? Yeah, we drove through that. We're through this order block here. We're probably into this guy here. Oh yes, look at that. Right off the money there. We're off the threshold of that candle there. It's inside this candle back here. And we've got some resistance. All right, so now we're going to get through this guy here. You can see we're working inside it right now. So we want to get a body above it, which we had here. I'm just going to draw this out so it looks, I'm not running back and forth here. So if I take get a body bit up, they're digging right back into it here. So does this hold price for the day? And then we get a nice, just a nice big wick, and then we start to pull back into here. Or are we looking at the range created by the week? Is this the high? Sorry, the week. Uh, 11. So there's the week. 30%, 20 to 30% of the retracement back into the week or the day. Keep your eye on this area here for oil. Let's go down into a lower time frame. Oh yeah, it's to the top of it, and now we're hitting right through it. So here's the fill of the fair value gap, also hitting near the edge of that fair value gap on the daily. So do we just come back and fill this, and then we just create another run back up? Or do we get a good body through here, come back, get some support at this, leave this open right here? Let's see how if we get a measure of support off of this fill. It's a little micro short, a couple of pipettes short, 2 pips short of the fill. So I'd like to see this come down to here, maybe bang off the bottom of that fair value gap, come back up, get above this one with a body on the next hour, and then continue pushing back up again. So we want to see if this thing will provide a measure of support now to go up, or an inversion to go down. So just kind of keep your eye on that area for oil. And a US Tech. Real. Hello. Oh, there you go. Hello. Real. Sorry, buddy. Every once in a while I will look over and see if someone's there. And good morning, Real. So I'm kind of looking for that in oil. I think, Real, you were asking this about yesterday for oil. And I like this area. I want to look in here, and I want to see what's going on off of this order block here. And I want to see that fair value gap. What we get, what kind of reactions do we get off that with the after 10 o'clock. I'll give you a better idea about that. US Tech. So let me get rid of this guy now. I'll delete him. Checks into the sliver that we talked about. That's the sliver on the daily. Now, do we get a measure of support here? Also, look at this wick. We got our take our wick and divide it up here. So we want to be looking for %, which is the bottom of the sliver. We have 50% of the wick, 75% of the wick, and I want to see this stay above. If you want to stay bullish, actually the threshold there of that order block is where you want to go bullish. But if we start digging down into here, there's a greater chance that we're going to run below this wick. People might look at this as the trend line. This is creating a trend line in here, like a trough. I guess retail looks at that as a trough. Now if we break through the sliver here on the daily. I just want this to create like an inversion fair value gap for us. If this holds price, and then we start coming back up and into it, and then start pushing up higher, we'll see if this gives us a measure of support by 10 o'clock. Do we get on top of it and look for an opening to run and take a few pips out of that? So keep your eye on these areas here, the midpoint of that wick. for the rest of the day. That's 50% of the wick. Again, wicks can do the damage. Keep your eye on the body. Let's go down into a 15-minute. Okay, 15 minutes is a fill. And I gotta put the I'm gonna get my give my posse an opportunity to pop in. My breakfast club guys. Okay, so we're driving through this now in the bottom of our sliver. So we're 7:38. Looking for that news release at 10 o'clock for the consumer sentiment and the inflation expectations. We'll see what those guys are up to. All right, we're getting through. So does this provide a measure of support? So I like this inside here. Again, keep an eye on the bodies. 50% of the wick. We have an inversion gap over here. This little guy held nicely. Wicks did a lot of damage there. We'll sit patiently and watch. Now it's driving right for the 50%. We're at that wick. That was the hourly, I think, wasn't it? Yeah, the hourly. So let's look for these interesting fellas here too. They're over the top of one another. Okay, so we get rid of that wick 50% now. So we're looking for a run below here. I like this push down into this new day opening gap. And then we will see if we can seize an opportunity to throw our bot on this morning. Small little pocket here. That's US 500. Oil, look at that reaction off of that fair value gap fill there. It's almost a full dollar already. It's like 90 cents pullback. 70 cents pullback. Now do we drive back down here now? Create an inversion and continue on to the upside. We'll wait for the next 15 minutes, see what's going on. There's quite a lag in between live and what you guys are actually seeing. I'm looking at the live chart, and I dropped those lines in a while ago. Yeah, it's a nice little pullback there. 4 hour. Ah, never finished an 8-hour fill. No, this could be just a drive back up into here and then another push all the way back down again. You heard it here. Just look at this order block up here in the 8-hour, here and here. That could be just your level there. 1, 2, 3. If you lose the threshold, look for the further upside on the 8-hour. 4-hour, we've got a little tiny fair value gap sitting in here, here to here. That's another sliver. Does that provide us a measure of support? Come back up to it, invert, and then come back down. No, invert would be up and then continuation. This would be fill it and then start driving back through it. So we're inside that daily sliver there. See what's going on with that in a bit. Hourly. And let's get into gold again. Gold drove all the way through into this I'm not sure if that's really keying off any main area yet. I think we still have more upside to push through. It's whether or not we get a measure of retracement back into a fair value gap inversion here. If we can get back into 1922. So we're looking at, I'm looking for something in here to find some support to continue up into the higher time frames. Now you get down to 30-minute. I like this one here, 15-minute. Look at the 15-minute there. Well, there's your example of a wick that went through it. Body opened on it, tapped into it, and left. Now, this is what I want to see is come all the way back into here. Now, does it pull all the way back into here? So let's look at this quick, short little range that it's created here. If that be the high, 50% is here, 62% is here. And your optimum trade entries are well within that lower one. So if you want to discount in this short little range here to go continuation on the upside with a stop loss sitting down here, you want a measure of resistance here. I think if you start digging into this gap again, I would close out my stop loss. Ideally, I'd like to see this stay open, come back into here, either tag the top of it, you know, mess around in a little bit in the middle 50% range. That's the 50% of that whole thing there. So watch this give you some measure of support off of here. Then you go long off of that. Keep in mind your stop loss is down here. So even a return back to there is 50%. It's a 1-to-1 ratio, right? So it's not a great return on your money. And we're looking at Friday as well. And by the time you guys get this, I'm looking at that live chart right now, and it's there's a healthy return. By the time you guys get this, this could have already come down here and tagged this and left. So live is really not that live. There's a bit of a lag there. And remember, this is just demo money, so if we do demonstrate any trades, they're just on demo. I don't recommend you make any live trades unless you've been trained or you're professional. And risking your money is that it's very risky in the markets, and the markets can turn in a dime and take your money. So traders trade at your own risk. and always trade demo to you. Practice, you get good enough for it. If you want to have a little live account on the side and you want to trade that, play in demo till you're absolutely sure. And I'm not going to tell you when you should or should not go live. So always be cautious when you're entering into the markets. Consult a professional. Good professional trader. I have to make sure there's some sort of any professional. No, you want to consult a professional trader or financial advisor before making any decisions in the market. That said, we got a little fair value gap here. Come back inside it. We're at 50%. Does that give us some support? Or are we going to continue coming down for some little discount chunk in here? So keep an eye on this inversion fair value gap here. No, it's not an inversion. Yes, it is on a higher time frame. This is this time frame, 15-minute. We see there's a fair value gap here, busy. I'll leave that there for a second. Let's get over to the hourly again. See, it's a repush all the way down. Oil loves to do this, at least to give these big wicks and then drive all the way back down again. Oil can be sneaky like that. Here we go. We have cleared out the liquidity below that pool, so we said if it broke the 50%, it would be running for the lows, which it has. Now, I've kind of measured out this stuff right here. This is the new day opening gap. Downside, we got and then after that we have, let me get this guy out of here. Keep your eye on this area right here. That's where my eye goes, right here. There's one. Drive through that. Two. You see a reaction. See, you notice how when they come down, they tag. There's a reaction. Tag. There's a reaction. And they push all the way through. So now we're looking for some measure of reaction in here. So we key off of here, or here, or here. And we're 4 minutes away from 10 o'clock news release. There's one. I just eyeballed this midpoint here. It's now we're 2 minutes away from 10 o'clock. I'm going to start to drill down now. I'm going to look for some measure of support in here. Consolidation. Take 50% of this consolidation. I ignore that big ass wick there. %50 of the consolidation is here. Now usually it likes to come back into the top of a consolidation, 50% of the consolidation, and then a run back up. And that usually happens when you break out like this, come back into the top of it, or there's as much as deep as 50% of that, and then runs all the way back up again. But if the 50% isn't hit, it's an area that I kind of look at to see if there's any support off of that. So now we're kind of looking at that, which is in this area right now. And we're looking at this new week opening gap as well. That's the gap we want to see it provide support, which is good. Now we start to drill down a bit more because we're at 8 o'clock or 10 o'clock now. So we ran all the way back to the new day opening gap. So now you start getting into the 1 minute. You start looking for our silver bullet entry. Look at that, right off the top of the new week opening block. So I want to see it get above this, come back, find support, create a little island reversal, as it were. Always keeping in mind like a 3 drives pattern, right? Boom, boom, we have one more potential here. So wicks don't cut it for me. I want to see a body get out of there, break a high, come back in, give me a measure of support here. So I'm not going to rush in on this one just yet. I'm going to wait and see. Keying off of the daily new day opening gaps. See how these areas become super sensitive. weekly, daily. Literally touching the open and the close of the new day opening gap a few days ago. Inside of order block, came up, came back down inside of order block. So does this threshold hold, which is right there? And now do we start to move back up again? Basic order block stuff, right? We validate it. Nice body above it. You come back to it. 1, 2, and 3. There's your third one. And we're moving away. Inside of weekly and daily new day opening gaps. So if you're really bold, do you take a chance and go long there? Right at 10 o'clock? I want the setup to happen. This is just kind of give you an idea of why these areas like new day opening gaps and new week opening gaps provide a measure of sensitivity, and price drives for them. Now, if they drive through this, where's the next one? So I'm kind of adding extra stuff in here over and above the little basic order block theory stuff, right? So I want to see this hold. It can dip down into here again, which really doesn't validate our order block anymore. But I don't give a lot of emphasis on order blocks until I see a nice little pattern of climbing starting to happen. Then I start to look at order blocks as more support. But right now this is just basic. It does this. It should come back to here if it wants to get support and continue up. Then it will, bang off of these key PD arrays and then continue to climb. So far that threshold is holding. And we also have the daily new day opening gap, new week opening gap right here. So just come all the way back to the beginning of the week, the start of the week. So we've gone up, made our high, come all the way back down. So if you were looking at this as a weekly candle, this will end up being a big wick up, like you'll look right here. Big wick up. We've come all the way back down to the beginning of the week, and that's where we're sitting. We had a little pop down. That's the majority of the week has been the run up. And now we're looking for more push. We have a little price imbalance started here. And my buddy Reel is gone. So we came back into we dipped into the daily again. Price imbalance. Now I start to see a push back up. So it's come back and tagged this. Now it's tagged the body. I like this for further upside. But I'm not going to press the trigger yet. We're going to wait. Gonna wait. I want my setup to happen. Back into the daily again. See how the bodies are respecting that daily open? What's our boys over here in gold doing? They came back into that order block. That fair value gap back. Sorry, fair value gap there, the BISI. So they created that BISI there. Came back in, touched it, didn't fill it, and we left. Now we're heading back up to the higher stuff. So we didn't even do a nice retracement back into that one. And it was too high a premium for me to get in on. I wanted to see it come back into here before it ran back up there. So it's running into the daily fair value gap now. So gold is a bit of a push today. We couldn't have got in. That wouldn't have been my entry. I would have waited for it to come back into here. But that's all you got for that run. It's a nice little run, but maybe on the 5 minute you would have seen something on a 5 minute. Let's go to 5 minute. Where do you play? Oh yeah, right there. Still not a discount range, that little pump up. I like to see it come back into a 50%. Like a discount before making the next run up. But if you look at that as a new price leg, from here to here, this is my upside objective for the day. Inside your, we'll put that as the objective for the day on gold. $19.34. And we'll see if I'm right. Look at that reaction off of oil inside that daily SIBI. Tech. What's tech doing? It drove back all the way down. That's why you wait for your setup. Three drives. That is why you wait for your setup. So have a breakdown, come back up inside this fair value gap in here. They're all in there. And we break down again below a low. So we're still heavy on this. Back inside this one. We're in that new week opening gap, so this is a break below a low, come back into the fair value gap, continuation on the downside. But because we're inside that weekly fair value, or sorry, weekly new week opening gap and the new day opening gap, we're between those two. I'm not touching this until I see some measure of reaction out of it, find a measure of support at it on the way up, down or up. So this kind of acts like the fair value gaps. I look at these very similarly. Similarly. And I want to see a reaction off of them. And when we're clustering around it like this, you wait. I'm going to wait for some sort of measure of breakout here. I've done well this week on the demo and done well on my live, so I'm just not going to risk too much here at the end of the week. Go super light. The majority of the trade week has been done, but you may have these anomalies sometimes that happen on a Friday where you wait for those choice cuts. You don't want to start dipping into something that's not a choice. Absolutely, it's going to get you a slam dunk. So here's that, again, breakdown. There's your SIBI inside, or sorry, this is your silver bullet. After 1700 on my one here, which is 10 o'clock New York time, you come back up into it here, get your 5 handles, and that's 23 handles down to here. As soon as you get below that low, take a portion off there. I always take out at the next low down. That may be like crazy for some people, especially if it's a minute. But you got to pay. Oh, I have somebody on this morning. Good morning, Richard.
Morning. Are you recording?
Yep, you're live. You're live on the Breakfast Club. It's my buddy Richard. He's here with us today.
I just played the S&P, had a nice little few trades on that.
Oh, you caught the down. Good for you.
I caught the down, yeah.
Yeah, it was a beautiful little popper this morning. There's a little tiny gap up in here. See that? From there to there.
Yeah.
We run back up into it. Bang. Hit it. And that was a nice run down. I missed it this morning. I saw I was talking about it. A spot in here. Somewhere, look at that 15-minute wise. Here's a nice little entry, right? So we have a break below. Yeah. Come back up inside it right there.
I hit it twice. I hit the first down and then I hit the second down.
Nice. Did you stay in it all the way down, or
I paired out all the way down.
Good. Excellent. Good for you.
Yeah.
Paid the trader, man, below the lows.
Yep.
So yeah, that we're digging into that daily fair value gap right here.
There was some news announcements at 15:30 that really took it off.
Yeah, see this new day open. I was talking about this morning about new day opening gaps. So we have this one here. Oh, where it closed. Sorry. When they close there, and the next one here. So you see how the new day opening gap, it broke below it, gap below it, came back up, tagged it right here, and then left.
Yeah.
So there's your new day opening gap right into the fair value gap on the daily. And now we're looking for a fill of this thing all the way down. There's a small little tiny piece down here, and we're inside that inversion fair value gap. We're about to hit it now.
Yeah, we're right at that other low there.
Mm-hmm. See how it was just banging off that new day opening gap? Boom. It's just like ding, 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 ding here. Came down, ding, ding, ding a few more times. Ding, ding. Finally gapped through it, came back up, tagged, left town.
God.
You got to have a sharp pair of eyes, boy, to catch that one. And I think Michael actually tweeted that this morning. He's like, new day opening gap to fair value gap on the daily. He's like, yep, I can see exactly where you were talking. It was just banging off of there, and as soon as it ran through, he had the sharp eyes to see it come back, and caught it on the way down. His son is actually gone for he's asked his prop firm, I want my payout. He's requested a payout. He wants to see his $1,500 this week. So bless his heart. That's great.
Bless his heart. His first payout.
Yes, and he's so excited. So I'm happy for him. I think that's great.
Oh man, good for him. Yeah. That was a chore. He had to work on that.
Oh yeah, he blew a few accounts along the way. But bless his little heart for trying. He went at it alone. It takes courage to trying to go at it alone, and then his
pop had to come in and rescue him a little bit.
It kind of kept him on the, tried to give him some advice, but he tried to let the kid. You gotta let the kid take a jump off the mountain and bounce down the hill a few times before he finds a landing, right? Like there's a seagull or something like that somewhere in New Zealand that it's a baby, gets pushed out of the thing and just bounces all down the side of the mountain until it hits the bottom. It just squeaks all the way down. You go, how come that bird's not dead? But it's like baby Cameron bird. He's just going all the way down that mountain, just banging off the sides, get some leverage, get some support. Away he goes. Bless him.
I know. There's Preston.
Oh, Preston's we got in a group today. This is awesome.
Preston, what are you looking at? Gold, or what have you been looking at this morning?
Oh, he doesn't got his mic on or something. Can't hear you, Preston.
Can't hear you. Preston. Can't hear you.
Okay. Anyway, so I'm back to this UST.
Hello? Can you hear me now?
Ah, there you are.
Yeah,
there we go.
What were you trading this morning, Preston?
Gold, as always.
Gold. Yes. I was looking at gold. I did a little spiel on gold earlier. And unless you caught an early run, or you caught one of these really low fair value gaps, or you just went blindly into it and hoped you got something for a long, if you had a vision for a long, bless you, man. Like I didn't see a heck of a lot of opportunity to get in on that run this morning. Unless you look at the 1 minute, there was at 1600. What time were you up this morning?
Not early enough.
Not early enough.
I didn't get in on it.
Oh yeah.
I was just watching it.
Yeah, it was a tough one. Here's an opportunity on the 1 minute. What I was explaining.
What time frame was that?
This is so we're looking at 1700 now. So this is New York time, 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock. So you're looking around for Canada time. For me, that would have been about 7 o'clock. 1600 would have been 1600 would be 7 o'clock for me. So there's your 7 o'clock wake up. So we break above here. See, there's up, and you go, great. Here's an opportunity right here. I would have thought, can we get back into this? Does this create a fair value gap? And I always like to go for the second one. So here's an opportunity that I never would have got my second one. The first one was the fill on the 1 minute, and then a continuation. And then when I saw this, I was like, okay, well, I want to see a measure of discount. I want to see this thing come back into a range that is, discount, like back off of this inversion fair value gap, get some support off of that. So technically, here's your body through your fair value gap, inversion gap, come back into it, find some support, and away you go. So that would have been technically your entry right here. Just right at that point, you would have a little bit of drawdown into that fair value gap there, and then you leave. Then we have this retracement. You see it coming back. Does it come back and fill this? And does this consolidation give us some measure of support? Well, it does. It comes back and tags right on the top of it, which was mentioned to people this morning about consolidations and how they tend to return to the top or 50% of the range, or 50% of that consolidation. Well, here's your consolidation. We break up above it, swing all the way back down, tag the very top of it, and then we continue.
So is the U.S. dollar going down, or do we have a confluence going on with the U.S. dollar? I wonder if that was a precursor to what's happening in oil or gold.
Yeah, let me have a look at that.
I don't know. Or do we have a divergence of the U.S. dollar?
Let me have a peek over here.
We could have a divergence because the U.S. dollar may be failing up.
Here's the Dixie. Let me bring this over here for you. So here's the Dixie on the daily. Oh, that's the weekly. So what are we looking at for daily? We did have a little dip down today.
Okay.
And hourly, we had a big gap down.
Woo!
See that?
There you go.
So that's where you had that big jump.
That's where we had the big gap in gold then, I guess.
Yeah. So if we're looking at this as a return to the bottoms here, these equal bottoms, and even the body, because we have is this a down close candle or up close? Let me have a look. So we got
I think it's down. No, that's a bull candle.
Is that a yellow one?
Yeah, it's
I
yellow.
can't tell.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a bull candle. So our last down close candle is this guy, the lowest body down close candle, and he, yeah, technically it's a run above an old high right here. That's a swing. So do we get a measure of support right off of that right there? Is that the high of the day? Or are we coming back in to leave this gap? We've just gapped down, so this is an actual gap here now because there's no price delivery right there. So do we come back up to the bottom of this and then continue down? Do we come back into the breaker? And that breaker is quite sizable now. So we got from here to here. If you're using this as some level of, am I going to key off of here? Oops. Get that out of there. See how we've hit the edge of it here? We tagged it. Now, are we going to pull back down and leave that gap open? And continue down for all this down in here on the...
Wow. That'd be a nice run for gold.
Oh yeah, that'll be a nice little pop-up. Why does it keep creating that? Okay, so right now we're between this breaker and that fair value gap on the daily. So, and I like that little piece right there too. I'd love to see that stay open. That is like a breakaway gap, like a real gap. So
And it is a real gap.
so it's a real breakaway gap right there.
Yep, yep.
And then come back down and work back into here.
Hey, let me ask you about gaps. Do you know, I was trying to find that YouTube video of Michael talking about gaps, and I cannot find that on his website. So at some point in time, if you could point that, if you find it, if you could point it out to me, I'd sure like to follow up with what he says on the gaps.
Oh, he's had a lot of like if you just start going through his daily content on his the YouTube channel, I think there's there might actually be a title on one of his videos talking about gaps or fair value gaps.
Right.
And he'll go in there. I know that he's mentioned it this year in his stuff.
Yes.
So it's if you have to go back through all of his content.
Correct. I'll do that.
But what is it you're looking for specifically about gaps? Anything? This is a true gap when there's no price delivery on either side.
Well, what I've noticed, there's three primary gaps. There's a gap that happens either at the top of a consolidation, middle, or the low side of the consolidation. And it seems as though when there is a reverse gap at the top of a consolidation, the IPTA, this is my thinking, it changes to a higher fractal look back, and it immediately seems to run to a different higher time frame fractal on those gaps at the extreme of a consolidations.
Yeah, I don't know if he's ever mentioned gaps being IPTA changing the name or changing a gap afterwards, unless that's one of his little hidden things or something that you've discovered yourself. I haven't looked at that.
I'm kind of discovering it myself.
Yeah.
If there's a gap at the top of consolidation, it seems as though IPTA begins to look for a higher time frame fractal, and then it zooms to that higher time frame fractal for a little bit, and then it seems to settle out. So I don't know if that's a glitch in the matrix, or that's just within the program of gaps. But I'm seeing that Michael, I know he mentioned something about the gaps, but I don't know if he mentioned anything along that line or not.
That's interesting.
Because I know IPTA, this is where my thinking comes from, is that IPTA, if it's fractal, which it is, then it has to be shifting between different time frames.
Right.
And looking at different time frames simultaneously, or at certain times it shifts into a higher time frame, and then it operates in a higher time frame for a little bit, and then shifts back down to a lower time frame. I don't know, but these are thoughts that are going through my head.
Okay.
Definitely doesn't shift nearly as much as the way that you're describing it. It, generally speaking, it's working out everything from in each time frame, reaching to the higher time frame areas on the lower time frames, right? So like, yeah, it does jump, like that jump there on gold was gapping up to get to the above the highs and grab the stops of people above there. So like,
yeah. So what I'm saying is, if there's a clean gap and it's at the bottom of a consolidation like there, it jumped up to a higher liquidity level of previous higher liquidity level. And or at least I've noticed that on the S&P.
Yeah, you're right. Like, so that's like a breakaway
to me
gap,
that's
right?
a shift.
Yeah.
To me that's a shift into a higher time frame.
Yeah, if that's an early warning sign for you that, hey, look, we've got, as soon as you see that gap up and you jump on it, even if you catch it a few seconds later, you jump on that, you say, that gap up is my first indication that we're running for higher liquidity. And then as soon as that breaks that high, you look at that instantly. As soon as that high is broken, I look at it and say, which one is the breaker? Because if we keep pushing up, when we return to this breaker, I'm going to get in on it. So as soon as that body breaks above that, like you said, this gapped up. So there's your first indication.
Okay, but the gap has to be at the lower 50% of the discount to be legitimate.
Oh, below here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, you see that range there?
Yeah, the discount range of it.
It's and the gap is in the discount range.
Yeah.
Of the newest range, it's in the discount portion. Then that gap up has validity.
Interesting.
But if it's in the 50% or the high, or if it's in the premium side, it doesn't have the same validity to it.
Yeah, Michael has a video out right now called the Reaper inversion fair value gap. So you can look at that. That describes on a price leg with a breaker. When you get a price leg with a breaker and there's a fair value gap there, is the fair value gap has to be on the bottom half of the price.
The discount side.
The discount side of the arm, and then it always comes back into the fair value gap again, or the gap itself, and then when it touches it a second time, the high, that's his entry to go along, and he calls that the Reaper. So it gives you this indication that we're going to swing all the way back down into here and then start pushing up higher. So this is your breaker discount. This is kind of like a Reaper set up here right now. So look for this area to come back down to it, swing in, clean it, come back up, touch it. As soon as it touches it, that's where you get long. Put your stop loss down here and let her buck, because here's your breaker down here. So if I line out the breakers here, so this is because Michael was saying there's where your breaker fails you. Everybody. So when I was looking at this, saying, wow, as soon as it broke above that, come back down, tag it, I'm out. I'll start running. So I run for the first high. So I get a little portion off here. But this is where Michael says this breaker now. People they're hooked on this breaker, saying, oh, this breaker is going to give us some support here now. And if it eats through it, you go, oh, it failed. No, we come to the Reaper. This is that Reaper gap that he was talking about. So if this fails, that's a Reaper. And then we should see it.
Yes.
We should see it with a measurable.
Page.
Yeah. So we should see that as a measure of running back up above all this little candy up here, because this is relative equal highs. There's a big pool of liquidity sitting up there that we've left untouched right now. So watch this to fail and come back into that gap. Here's your other fair value breaker. So we're going to look for here.
Thanks, Preston, for putting that all in the chat. Thank you, and double thank you.
You're welcome. I thought it would be easier for you.
Oh yes, you're good. You seem to have that research down.
Honestly, I was just Googling it while we were sitting here, but basically I found the things, I think.
It worked.
Hey man, if you can Google that quick, that's what you love these young kids saying, the damn technology.
I know, they just boom, boom, boom.
They eat it. They eat it like Cheerios, man. They just get in there and, oh yeah, I saw it over here. Of course you did. This technology.
What? I know how to use a search bar.
Yeah. Search bar, what's that? Is that like a place you get a drink or what?
Yeah.
Also, Darren, there is at some point, whether it's in Breakfast Club or outside, I'll let you make the choice. I'd like to have a conversation about Enigma again. I've been going down that rabbit hole and finding some stuff that you may find interesting.
Yeah, we could probably hook up a Sunday or something like that or you're doing your church.
If we could do it Saturday, if we could do it tomorrow or another, if tomorrow works for you, I'd love to.
Yeah, tomorrow I think Carla's got some stuff she wants to do tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah, no problem.
Saturdays are usually the day we like to have our little day trips. We go out and do our day adventures, and she says Sundays are the day you boys always sit down for 4 hours.
And then I'll try to tag with you on
during the week sometime is fine. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm usually done breakfast. I don't know what time when you're starting your work, but if you want to meet up, I can postpone a breakfast. No, I want to keep doing.
What time are you usually done with Breakfast Club?
I usually are done around 9:30. Depends on what the markets are looking like.
Okay, why don't I'm meeting up with David on Tuesday, so maybe after David, I'll have a chat with you about Enigma at that time. Then.
Sure. Yeah.
Monday or Tuesday. I'll tell you the rabbit hole I'm going down.
Yeah, I found a whole ton of bugs in my bot, and I spent the other day ironing them out. Holy smokes, did I have to get complex? But I've sorted some stuff out now. But the bot is quite complex in terms of buttons. You don't just hit one button, and you have to hit one button that resets a whole bunch of stuff underneath. This button here has to be reset, and you have to play with the buttons and know what it's doing inside the program, and in order for it to work. It's one of those things where, if I end up selling it, it'll have to be a course on how to run it.
Well, that's part of Breakfast Club is to show people how to use your robot.
Mm-hmm. But it's just skookum right now. I've got so many cool things I've tweaked it with. So let's look back at U.S. tech because I was looking at that earlier. We're still banging off that new week opening gap inside the daily fair value, new week opening or new day opening gap.
Did that news on Apple turn tech down a little bit? Did it cool its jets a little bit?
Well,
France outlawed Apple 12 or something like that.
Oh, really? Hey,
yeah.
Well, if that came out at 6:30 or 16:30 or at 8:30 this morning, if that news event came out, yes, it did affect them.
That came out this morning, I think.
Yeah, that did drop them down.
What happened? And China's also outlawing rumblings, I think, of outlawing Apple altogether in China.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What's this I hear about California no longer providing house insurance? Are they getting out of the house? There was a big company down there that's getting out of house insurance in California.
Oh, I don't know. That is.
I don't know if it might have been one of those reels where those people post just crap news, just to kind of get people all freaked out. And
the mortgages are sure going down in California. It's harder and harder for people to get a mortgage in California.
It makes you wonder if somebody's got some news about an upcoming geological event. And people are all these insurance companies are bailing out, so they're not.
I think it's more of the banking industry's having a hard time altogether.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, I got.
But other than that, I don't know anything else.
There's a couple of really good investments up here right now that are in Canada. You can get some EFTs that are paying 10, 15%, 16%.
On real estate?
RS real estate right now is 14 or 16% divvies, and it pays by the month.
Ooh,
and
right up your alley.
And DGS, which is a split ETF, they pay dividends after $5, and they're at 4 something, and when they start to pay dividends again, you're looking at over 27% dividends, and they pay every month. So you're literally getting 2% return on your money every month.
That's mailbox money.
Yeah. But they're obviously higher risk for sure.
Yes. The U.S. may increase their interest rates here.
Yeah, that's what we keep hearing.
Again.
That's really going to hit
They may have to.
Yeah, it's going to really hit the real estate for people for sure.
Yep.
And my AGNC, thank God that thing's still consistently paying some dividends.
Oh, good for you. Up in Sacramento area, I have a relative that lives up there in California, Lake Arrowhead, and the $1 million homes are not selling, but the $10 million homes are selling within 24 hours.
Oh, really?
So it's large, huge cash people that have a lot of money are dumping are buying real high end real estate, lake frontage, because his wife is in real estate, but the $1 million real estate is not turning over at all.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's the cash buyers are really driving the upper market, but where you got to get a mortgage, those have really died out.
Wow. Our real estate market here is just booming. It's going so well right now. We had a place across the street.
The oil is doing so good?
Yeah, it could be. It could be. Might be the immigration that we have here as well. We have we're allowing a lot of immigration, so houses are popping up like you wouldn't believe, and immigrants are hardworking people. I tell you,
they are
really hardworking people, and they you give them a $500,000 mortgage. All the rest of us go, "Are you kidding? A $500,000 mortgage? Are you nuts?" And these people are like, I'll do their shit jobs. I don't care. I will do any job because I know I'm grateful for a house. I'm grateful to work hard.
Yeah, and I got 2 or 3 families in one house, and they'll go out and buy another house.
Oh yeah, they got
a
dial,
their money
man.
Together.
Bless them. These people are really hard working people. So they're not afraid to spend some time paying for their house. And so I think that's what's really moving the market here. So we had a lady across the street here bought her place for $630 some odd $1,000 4 years ago, and she just sold it for over $800,000. So it got $50,000 a year. It went up in profit. It's like, are you serious? Crazy prices. So, but the problem is, you sell. How are you going to get back in?
You got to move out of the area.
Yeah, you got to move out of the area.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're out forever.
Yeah.
Never get back in.
There's going to be a decent swing in the market for the next. My buddy estimates that there's next 5 years you're going to see real estate really starting to climb, like these real estate ETFs. So
now, the news in the United States is we could have a 20% haircut in real estate here in the United States in 2 years.
Like a drop. So you guys don't have a high immigration thing? Is that because of Trump? He cut down on immigration? Is that still standing?
No. Immigration is through the roof here.
Oh, it is, hey?
Oh, yeah. We just in Arizona is $250,000 a month, just in one border crossing.
Really?
Yeah.
And that's all from the Mexican side?
Yes, 100%. Huge amount of Asian, huge amount of African, Guatemala.
But I tell you, some of these are hard working people. Man, they're some just that are not afraid to work and try and make a living. They get the American dream, right? Land of milk and honey, and they make the best of it. And then there's others that clearly don't.
Correct. Yeah.
But we're not going to get into politics. Back into our...
You gotta dip into it every now and then.
Yeah.
You gotta add color.
Add a little color, yeah, that's right. So we've got new week opening gap.
Wow.
We're working that whole new week opening gap. You can see how the bodies are really kind of bouncing. We're tagging key levels.
Well, you're on the 1 minute.
1 minute, yeah. And we're bouncing right off. You see how it's hitting this threshold of the new week opening gap? You see how much...
Is that what that is down there, that dotted line?
This whole area here, from here to here, is the new week opening gap. The dotted line is the threshold, or the consequent encroachment of that. So you can see how they become areas that are very sensitive. That's the high, banging up and down on the high, then banging up and down on the threshold, the low. So we've really used the top and the top 50% of that new week opening gap. Now we're going to start to work. Are we going to work the bottom half of it? Are we going to break through, come back up, find some support, and continue through it? Or are we just going to run back up? So when I was looking at this earlier, I thought, oh, I might get in on this to go long. And I thought, well, no, it did not break my rule. My rule is the body's got to get above this and get some support. And then I thought, well, you know, this still looks like it's going to give me some support off of this. I might go long again. I was like, no, that's not my rule. And sure enough, it kept coming down.
You would have been trying to pick the bottom.
Yeah, trying to pick the bottom. You can't do that.
Would have been handed to you.
Yeah, so I would have been beat up. So
hey, Preston, are you familiar with these ICT indicators that Darren is using?
The ICT indicators? No.
Yeah.
Oh, you got some?
There's some great ICT indicators out there now.
Yeah,
just phenomenal.
I'll see if I can show you one here.
They have everything on it. Breakers. It has everything in it. Everything ICT in this indicator.
Market structure concepts. This is a little Asian friend. You can pick this up in MT5. Great freaking chart. The input.
Show him what everything that it has in it.
General settings allows display of historical structure. Yep. Max bars 2000. We have internal structure. You look for bullish structure, bullish bearish structure, width. You can pick your bear candles, different colors. You can pick the bull. These are breaks in market structure to the upside or the downside. So this is the upside, that's the downside. You can pick the text to pop in here and tell you when it sees that there's a break in structure. It'll tell you right there, hey, there's a break of structure here, and then you can get in on that. We have show the swing structure. They've got swing structure trades. Look for bullish and bearish candles. Then you look for a bull break and a bear break. It'll tell you whether you want it is a strong, weak, or low probability. Fractals. It'll give you all your fractal highs, lows, zigzag patterns if you're into zigzag patterns. You can pick your highs and lows on your fractals. Order blocks. Specifically show the internal order block. Mean threshold. You want to know the threshold. He puts a threshold on there as well. Order block styles. Internal bullish, bearish, mean thresholds. You can put those in there as well. So those are the bulls, the bears. Volume. You can see the by volume types. I don't use volumes because I think it doesn't work for me. That's not an ICT thing. ICT never teaches volume. High time frame structures. So you can add in your higher time frame. There's an actual control panel you can pop up, and it'll sit down in the corner here, and then you can decide what higher time frame structure you want to look at, and it will print it on the screen for you. The bars, swings, it gives you all that stuff. Mean thresholds of a higher time frame, and you get to pick what higher time frame you want to look at. Higher time frame structure styles, internal. It'll also give you the higher time frame, all the different types of structures that you want to look at, overlaying your chart. It just becomes this huge monstrosity of stuff if you click everything. Show the MTF structures dashboard. I don't use it. Fibonacci. It always
that's quite a bit of stuff.
Yeah, it pulls a Fibonacci tool for you all the time, so you can always see a fib tool on the chart and see where it is and where you can potentially look at. Oh, there's a confluence there that tells me that's coming back to an area of support. So if that were going to come back to 50% and we're in a retracement here, that's my eye goes there. I don't have to draw it all out. It's there already if you want to leave it on. So your fib colors, you can add all your different types of fib levels if you want. Breaker blocks, it looks for breakers. Now this he didn't have this set up the way a proper breaker is, but I love this stuff. This show the end lines. It literally has an end line breakout, and when it breaks out and comes back to that end line, this is the high percentage of the time you can get in on that and run la high, or he has this end line that comes back to the base of it. Like you'll have a line that will come up, down, and then back up to the first corner turn, and then launch away. And it seems to be pretty accurate. This end line, or show the end lines. So I always say yes, show me those, because when they happen, it gives me a good indication that it is a new trend line, a new breakout structure. It does support that pretty close. Not every time, but it really, if you know your ICT stuff, this really kind of helps watching for breakouts. Supply and demand, as you know, Michael never teaches supply and demand, so this is more retail stuff. So this isn't just ICT concepts. He's just taken some ICT concepts and done a really good job of laying them all out there. This supply and demand bullshit, I'm not crazy about. I don't use it. Strong imbalance labeling. That's an opinion. He must find some sort of data points and give you a labeling. Fair value gaps. You got all your fair value gaps laid out here. You can fill them with color. You can leave them unfilled if you want. You can delete them afterwards if you want, or you can just extend them all the way out to the right or left. You can look for how far you want to extend them past the colors. Like, it's crazy. Bull, bear, fair value gaps, encroachments, consequent encroachments. You can put all those in there as well. Liquidity voids, he puts all them in. Volume imbalances, he puts them in. Long wicks, buy side liquidity, sell side liquidity. It detects those for you. Equal highs, equal lows. Premium discount zones. So you put your bars up there, and if you're in a premium or discount of a range. Previous days, weeks, months, high and low. You have all of those in there as well. Previous days opening and close. So that's the new day opening gap, new week opening gaps. Markets time sessions show the market time. So we can there's a little thing on the end of the bar here that gives you the time, tells you how many more seconds left of that particular bar, or how many hours or whatever are left of that particular bar. So you can have that in a certain color. You can have the whole London, New York sessions can all be timed. All the times are setting over here. So if you want to know what market the time is in what market, New York, you can look up in here and you'll see the time is always going to be up there. All we do, Frankfurt, Sydney, London, Tokyo, all that stuff's there. And then you got New York Midnight Open, very important one. Have that's a line on your chart. The Asian range, all the different things in the Asian range. The open kill zones. I tell you, this kid's got everything in here, right? London close, all the different things you can see in the London close. The New York open kill zone, New York close kill zone, new week opening gap, new day opening gaps. Again, there's more details you can put in on those. Candle timer. You can put the size of the candle timer on there as well. And then alerts. You can set a shit ton of alerts. And they'll like bleep bleep. When you have a breaker come up, bleep bleep, the breaker block can come up. You can have a whole bunch of different sounds for a shit ton of alerts. And you can send them by mobile. You can send them by email. Like, it's cray.
So it has almost the whole core content in one indicator.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
And it's only like
$65.
Yeah. $65, yeah. One-time cost.
Yeah, one time, and you can get five downloads with it, or unlimited downloads. Like he does a lot of updates with it, and like he's always updating it, and he's always looking to improve. You can talk to the guy and say, "Hey, look, I changed this piece. I think this is more accurate," and he'll be like, "Okay, send me proof. Show me what it is you're talking about, and I'll make the adjustments." Like he's a smart little Asian guy, man. He's like a whip, incredibly quick. That's Australian dollars. Get back over here. So yeah, that thing there is, you can spend days playing with little charts and stuff.
Anyway, if you wanted to buy that, Darren could show you how if you're ever interested.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now, actually.
Okay, just go to the market there under indicators, and he is right here. Smart market structure. $65. And I haven't seen any of these other guys yet, but when I saw this and I saw all the stuff that he was offering, and the fact that the guy is so keen, like if you click on it, you look at how he's at 12.3 already. And that gives you a rundown of all the stuff he's got. He's even got videos on how to use it, what it is, like 4 different videos that he'll show you a test, and then you can see 3 different videos on how to run these different zones. And then he's looking for, where's his? So I get 5 activations. Jingbo Wu, smart guy. Reviews, screenshots, overviews, version 12.3, and he updates it like regularly. If there's something that's not working, like he was banging off almost reviews on a daily basis. Like he was doing modifications to this. The guy knows he's going to end up being a billionaire. Not that he's going to get it off of here, but he's a smart guy, man. He knows how to feed the market. He knows how to take care of people. So anybody's watching this, smart market structure concepts, MT5, see my buddy Jingbo Wu. We love you, Jingbo Wu. We love you. You good. Very smart guy. Anyway, so that's the market thing. That's where you find him. Back to our gold. Gold on the 1 minute, still nothing. For our silver bullet setup, you've got to be quick, like right here. Look at that. 1730. There was again in a consolidation. Well, I won't touch those in a consolidation.
No.
But if you did,
there's even an indicator that shows a silver bullet indicator for $30. And that's all it does.
Yeah.
Food for thought.
But my bot will grab it at the first one as well. My bot looks for the first setup, and it will take it right away.
Yes, sir.
You got to turn it off just to make sure that it doesn't jump into shit like this. Otherwise, it would have taken that, and you would have lost. It would have come back here and cleaned you out. So you got to know, no, bot, easy little guy. Just turn off the button, wait for it, and then when you go, now look for one, bang. It'll find it for you, and off to the races you go.
Good for you.
Yeah, nothing here. Like this was a silver bullet here. You would have been squeezed. Excuse me. Squeezed good here. And if the spread was big enough, it would have taken you out. But there, you're aiming for here and here. Always aim for the nearest high that you just made to get the portion off. And a lot of people don't do that. They wait for some big freaking 10 PD arrays place away. And you got to start unloading your position. Even if it's a small portion, pay yourself. Pay yourself. And the first time you pay yourself, move to break even. Because if it comes back to you, at least you got to pay yourself a small portion. Because if you're wrong and it didn't go back up to where you wanted, at least you got a little piece off there and you're break even. Zero stress trade. Try to make your trades as stress-free as you can, as soon as you can. Unless you're a bold guy like Michael who just says, oh, I think I'm going to go right here and I'm going to wait until it gets around here somewhere. He has his precision.
Yeah, he does.
All right, well, gold's not doing anything for us right now. Oh, look at that. Now, this, I was calling this morning on a 15-minute. Look at this thing coming on a 15-minute. It came right back into this
Fair Value. What are you looking at?
Gold, oil.
Oh, oil.
Oil came right back into a nice little consolidation. And hang on a second here. I'm going to mute my mic for a second. My wife's on the phone. Hang on. Hello. Good.
Are you still trading the Russell, Preston?
Not these days. I'm still doing that prop firm account.
Oh,
same one.
Wonderful. Good for you. Yeah, I'm happy for you.
Yeah, you guys still doing that, or
Yep.
How's that going?
Yeah, I blew a couple of them, making some, trying to run my bot, and I blew a couple of them, overcommitting with the bot, and then they found so many bugs in it, and I was like, oh man. So now I'm just managing it, and I've got it. I've made some good coinage on it this week, and I'm looking to get funded by the end of the month. Yeah. So that's my objective for the end of the month.
Wow.
And this one I slammed it up like, there's a couple of awesome trades I put in here the other day. I got $6,700 out of it, 848 out of it. I had a nice.
And was that on oil or what was that on?
No, these were like GBP.
Oh, pound. Okay.
GBP US 500. I got the big one on the US 500. I set this one up here on the 500 during a, I think it was a couple of days ago. I had this one. Yeah, this one right here. So I was grabbing. I made a prediction at the end of one of my sessions that it would come back up, come back down, and then shoot back up again. So I clipped it a bunch of times coming in here. When it started coming back down, I started running those. Then it started coming back down, so I thought I'm going to get in again. Then it started doing a deep retracement, and I had my stop loss sitting down here. And then it started coming back up. So I unloaded a piece by the end of the day, and I said I'll leave the rest of them on for tomorrow. Or to run, and they came back into my fair value gap. There's a fair value gap in here. I had it come back in, close it out, and then before I went to bed, I went for this guy here, and it was on a 1 hour, maybe? Was it a 1? Yes, 1 hour. There's a little fair value gap down in here, and right on, I had it set, my expiry date or expiry time was 11:44. So it came all the way down, tripped me in, and I wanted to go just up above the rejection block. And I literally hauled in that one at 6,770.
Ooh, nice.
Right to there. So it worked out. Those clusters worked perfect. So I did get my prediction. It just I wasn't expecting the drawdown to be quite as intense.
Yeah,
so it came all the way down to the end of the fair value gap on the daily. So I looked at that. I was like, oh, I can see this order block holding, or at least that that wick holding. So I held it, let it run. So I had a sizable withdraw or drawdown, and then I saw the recovery. I was like, great. Now we've got upside, and I wanted this to come back into here for the swing, the Judas swing into London, and it worked perfect. So yeah, so that one's moving that back up because my bot beat the crap out of this. I've been testing the crap out of that area, so I'm just trying to bring it back because my bot, I'll show you where my bot was just, this is, look, this my bot was killing it.
Ouch.
I kept screwing up. I was testing it on the British pound, and it was just hammering. Then I was finding more glitches, like, oh, I know what it's doing. I couldn't understand why it would go in, it would buy all the entries, and then they would cancel out right away. And I'm like, why are they all they're going in and closing out instantly. Or they would go in, and the moment it came back and tagged them, they'd go out. I'm like, what the hell's going on? So I had switches that were like, I had to get switches that would have to reset switches and then reset another set of switches, and going back in and changing them and creating on-off switches all over the place, and check this one on. When this one is on, that one's got to be off. And when those two are off, that one's got to be on. Like the combinations of on-off switches, when you add more buttons, gets exponentially freaking crazy. So you got to draw out a whole matrix and plot it out properly. So that's what I ended up having to do, and now it's skookum now.
Good for you. Well, gentlemen, it's 8 o'clock my time, so
time for you to run.
Time to go do some other stuff for me.
Roger that.
Me too.
All right, boys.
I gotta go.
Thanks for popping in.
Thank you, gentlemen.
You have an awesome day, guys.
Bye, boys.
All right. See you, gentlemen. Thank you. Welcome back.
And with that, we're looking for a probable close for the day. It was nice for guys to pop in for a little bit. What are we looking at here? Where are we? So let's see there. Here's our little break below. This is the US Tech. When we're talking about, we want to see it break above or below the weekly, the week opening gap. So we finally broke below it here. We never came back to it. Now we're just left out. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Nothing solid for me to get in on. Oil did some nice little recovery off of that gap. Wow. Nice. Now look for this. Here we got a body up here. Look for this area right here. Look for this. Give you some bold gold. Doesn't matter the color. Look for here and here. Look for a return to this fair value gap. It could even dip into this little guy here to go long. You run this liquidity, you run that liquidity. So does this give you a measure of support? Or here? These are the areas I'm looking for. There, and here. Put your stop loss below here. So there's the first one. Came back, tagged it perfectly there. I want a discount. Even though it's a nice little bold candle there. We've got 50 cents. Where's my other one? S&P. Doesn't offer it. Okay. That's the fill of the fair value gap. So we can eliminate that one. 50% is your discount. Little pocket right there. So we're going to go in on this one right here. We're inside this breaker right here. So that may be the only one you get. Inversion fair value gap. See it right there? So if we don't get that one, oh, I like this one. I like that area right there. Let's just wait and see what happens here. Here we come. Stop loss will go below here. So that's 50% of the range. Remember I was saying I like this level right here. Look at that, the bodies are respecting that. Looks good. I wanted to be really picky and get my full fill here, but that's all right. Let's put a oh, okay, so just gotta hit refresh. There you go. But all right, we're in. Oops. Double click my button. I got one of them in anyway. I'm going to put this one down here. Is the bot going for it now? I'm just letting the bot do the trades now. We'll let it put in some more here. As soon as this one's over, it'll start taking some more. late in the day, I'm going to cut these leverage down on these. There's a bunch more. Now I'm going to move these guys, this guy into profit. Take that one off there. We'll let the new ones go. So this would be like a measure of support here. This will create a new fair value gap in here. And then continue on the upside. First little chunk. A bunch more. If I break this high, I'll close these guys out. There you go. Close those out. We'll keep these other two on. This could be a breakaway gap. Feed the wolf. Take a piece off there, above that high. My live account won't let me trade these, but I love oil. Sometimes oil can be just a dandy. So that was our setup there. We looked for these key levels, that bottom of that fair value gap, the 50% range. Then we had this break above with a body, fair value gap. Bot sees this, grabs it right away. We got our entries. As soon as we get above that high, unload it. Creating a fair value gap in here. I wanted to grab that. As soon as that one opened and started trading down, I wanted to get out of that. So take a big chunk out. Wait for another bot, the bot to recognize another fair value gap above here. Take it. Pay the trader again here. Stop losses are still down here. And we're way low leverage now. We're down to $1.30 and $1.80. We're risking 45.39. Actually, we move that one to there. So we can put another one in on here. If this order block is holding, which is the threshold. We'll take some out here above these little highs. Reaches up there, we'll take another 10% out of there. I see some legs on this sucker. I don't want to see this just waffling around here. Start pushing. We can allow it to dip into here. If I start seeing the body go through here, I'll close out my stop. Okay, come on, let's do some things. Time to dance. Here we go. So give me some. Okay, we took another. Ooh, feed the wolf. Took some more out there. Let's get up here. I'm just playing, just testing the old bot out, making sure that she's working fine. Oh, come on, baby. Pop up. We'll take it out there. Ow, feed the wolf. Ow, yeah. Not a zero stress trade yet. Not zero stress because we still got a stop loss down here and all the little ow we've been paying ourselves here is just pretty much going to get nullified. I am going to play with something here though. I'm going to change this to 50. So just as soon as we get above those little highs, you start paying yourself some money. Just a silly rule, but put some money in your account. Now if we get above this high again, just because it's really waffling here. This is the breaker right here. We came up to almost tagging it there. I'm going to close out one of them anyway. Leave that last one on. $10. We're just playing. Just because there's a breaker, there's a PD array right there that we just hit. So this could quite easily reverse down into here, which I think it will. So we're going to close that out. I think it's going to come back into here. We run these little highs out here. That was a nice little chunk of change there, I think. $250. That's not the one. We did this the other day. This is all we've done today. 15th. Just the bot run. Nullifies that bad play we had the other day. At 250, 60, 75, almost $200. Inversion. We went up, we threw it, came back to it. Is this inverting now? Hit it, come back down. This is our drive down that we were talking about. I like the breaker. Get out there. Just some quick pips. Now we've got this retracement back into the fair value gap. I'm going to close that out. Yeah. So now we're getting into consolidation type thing. So anyway, that's my little play. I'm glad I got the bot to do a little trade. Sorry it was late in the day, but just to show you the bot's working awesome. And at least we took a little bit of more money out of the market. And we're getting closer to our break-even point after my bot was just destroying this demo account. So we're slowly bringing her back to break even, and then we'll start moving her forward. So again, thanks for popping in. Those of you who did pop in today. Thanks for coming by. And if you're looking at this stuff live after the fact, my name is Darren Hancock, and I am the host of The Breakfast Club. Thanks so much for popping in, and feel free to pop in again next week. Have a great weekend, you guys, and remember, whenever you're making some money, have an opportunity to share it. Share your wealth with some people who are less fortunate. Help somebody else's dreams come to fruition. Pay it forward. Lots of love to you guys. Take care out there, and we'll see you again on Monday.